This is Savio. I've been seeking answers to some of life's most perplexing questions my entire life. In 2014, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, and ever since, I realized my calling existed outside of what I knew to be familiar. This podcast is your home for survivors like myself and those who are searching to find meaning to their why. In Season 2, the show includes a mix of coaching sessions followed immediately by interviews with those from all walks of life who have been successful in the business, marketing, coaching, and financial worlds. The intent is to show the human experience in its rawest form so that others may glean insight. Nothing is rehearsed or has been edited. As a board-certified wellness coach, my job is to ask the deep questions of those trying to make sense of their place in this fractured world. I believe life speaks to us in different ways. Many of us listen but don't know how or where to begin. As someone who has crossed the bridge between life and death, I say simply, begin where you are now and get busy living. If you liked today's episode, I would appreciate it if you could share it and subscribe. Be sure to tag me at The Human Resolve so I can reciprocate in kind. So without further ado, welcome to the Human Resolve podcast. In Season 2, Episode 2, entitled The One About Productivity, the concept of accountability has never been Scott Perry's strong suit. Only by getting out of his own way can he make the biggest impact. Hey Scott, it's good to see you today.
It is fantastic to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. So what would you like coaching on today?
One of the things that I am really struggling with right now is this idea that I feel a great deal of clarity about who I am, what I do, where I'm going, trying to reflect that, in things as simple as my website copy, my email messaging, but, it's definitely landing as not as clear as I imagine when it lands in other people's heads. So I would just love some coaching and some insight into how do I do a better job of making the noise in my head better resonate and rhyme with the noise that people who are engaging with me, as possible clients.
Okay, great. So what I'm hearing from you is that you basically have your website and all the other details online, but it's just not as resonating with how you perceive yourself and how others are maybe taking your information in. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So what would be a positive or a successful outcome for today's session?
Just having a better sense of what the message and the positioning and all those things are that would help make it clearer, especially clearer more quickly to others. Like you, I'm a coach, and as you know, we have very little time for somebody to make a decision about whether they're just going to lean in to learn more. And so just getting, I think, clarity around my messaging and my initial delivery would be immensely helpful.
Great. So about getting that initial messaging and having it be clear so that your audiences could understand.
Exactly.
Is that correct? Great. So what would be the ideal perception that you would like your audiences to take from you?
The ideal perception I would like my audience. That is a great question, Savio. I am interested in working with people that are already actively engaged in making the difference only they can make. People who understand that we enhance our own lives most through work that serves others, and they're actively in that pursuit. And like me, they are struggling to level up in something that's already going and maybe even working. So the ideal, what I would like them to see is that I am an experienced, trusted, empathetic, compassionate, considerate, caring guide in helping them do just what you're doing with me now, helping them see where they are, see where they want to be, see the challenges that are in front of them, help shine a light on the challenges that they are putting in front of themselves and help them start navigating the adversity and embracing the uncertainty that's involved whenever you're doing anything that's worth doing.
So when you have these conversations with individuals, how are you expressing those desires of yours?
The desires that I just expressed to you?
Yeah.
Currently, the language is very pointing to the pain point, but also pointing to the promise that, stepping into your potential is possible, promising that it involves real work, but that's why it's worthwhile. And that fulfillment comes, and passion and purpose comes when you are paying attention and doing your best with and for the people right in front of you, doing the work that's necessary to help everyone step into their potential.
And has there been any hesitation when you've expressed that?
I don't. For the right people, no, and for the wrong people, yes. And of course, that's the point. I do. One of the roles that I have, in addition to the coaching work that I do at Creative on Purpose, is I'm on the head coach team for Seth Godin's Akimbo workshops. So many of the people that are coming to me and taking the bolder step of taking an assessment and booking a call already have some familiarity with me. I've already earned their awareness, their attention, their permission, some trust, and some degree of enrollment. It's what we're working on. Oftentimes, by the time they book a call or even visit my page, is, am I ready to invest in this journey? And so maybe that's part of what I'm struggling with, is, am I making clear the journey that I want to take someone on?
And when you speak about this journey, does that resonate anywhere in your body?
I guess it's another great question, Savio. I think that's a great question, because I think it resonates mostly in my head, in my intellect, and it probably should be resonating somewhere a little bit deeper.
And when you mean deeper, where?
I think I would say probably my instinct would be the gut. I in the handbooks that I write, and in the coaching that I do, and in the workshops that I lead, and the speaking that I do, I really try to frame things around the hero or heroine's journey. Helping people become the agent of their own destiny, operating as a trusted guide, but as a coach, whether it's in Akimbo workshops or Creative on Purpose Difference Maker coaching, I want to coach myself out of a job. My job is not to keep you on the hook and relying on me forever. My job is to help you get out of your own way and get going with your journey. I'll walk with you as long as it's serving both of us. And when it's time for you to continue on your own, or to find the next guide, to help us both understand that that's part of the journey as well. And, saying goodbye for now is not the same as saying, see you never.
Yeah. Would you be open to doing a little bit of an experiment with me right now?
Sure.
Just want you to get comfortable in your seat. If you feel inclined, you can close your eyes, or you can soften your gaze. Just want you to take 3 deep breaths in and 3 deep breaths out. I just want to do a quick body scan. So I just want you to breathe into the different body parts I mentioned. So the top of the head, the eyes, the nose, the ears, the mouth, the neck, shoulders, upper body, torso, lower body, your legs. And I just want you to take another deep breath in, deep breath out. I just want to count down from 5 to 1. Just want you to see if you could shift when I hit 1, shift that energy from your head, as you mentioned, to the stomach. So I'm going to count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If your stomach had a voice, what would it say?
If my stomach had a voice, it would say, trust yourself.
Trust yourself. Do you feel that you do that?
I feel it is at the heart of, a lot of what I do as a coach. And it's like, again, I don't know what your experience is, but most of us that are in the coaching profession are usually doing that because we've struggled so hard scratching our own itch and solving our own problem that we want to help other people bypass the unnecessary suffering. So yes, the direct answer to your question is yes, I do a fair job of trusting myself. And yes, I've been chewing on that. It's the quote by Goethe, as soon as you trust yourself, you'll know how to live. I've been chewing on that since I was in the 7th grade. So I've, obviously still, that was a long time ago, and there's still a little bit of work to do.
And with that Goethe quote, how has that sort of grown in your experience throughout the years?
A lot of it is about trusting your gut instincts, trusting your intuition, not making decisions or taking action, reactively or unconsciously, but being responsive and conscious, but also trusting that all you can do is make the best decision that you can and take the next best step that you can imagine, knowing that the outcome is largely beyond your control. I think that most of us like to think that all of our wins are due to our towering intellect and immense talents, and we neglect and forget that most everything is beyond our control, and that luck plays an incredible role. Even just the luck of the biological lottery, where you were born, what you look like, all those things. Yeah. Work in progress.
Are there any more deep insights when you tap into your stomach?
I guess it's related to the trust yourself, but just the, trying to be a little less, try to be a little bit more unfiltered, not bringing in attachments to preconceived notions of what a good outcome or a good result looks like, not bringing all my value judgments and biases and predispositions. Being in the moment, present, mindful, compassionate, not just to the people I'm working with, but to myself. And trusting myself, trusting the process, that where we might not get exactly where we intend, but we'll still get somewhere great if we pay attention and try to do things with intention and integrity.
So Scott, if I had this ability to fast forward 3 years from now, and you garnered those ideal clients of yours that you mentioned, and instantly they knew your message, what would that look like?
I think it's probably around that trust yourself.
And how could that be voiced clearer for them?
Yeah, a lot of my messaging is about stepping into your potential, stepping into possibility, flying higher in the difference that only you can make, things like that. But that's the promise of a result, and not a promise of the. It's not the promise, the process, what's on the journey. I guess the journey that's on offer.
So how could you create some action steps around that journey for them?
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I do have a process where I help, especially people that don't have clarity around exactly what the endeavor is that they're building. And it's around identifying who they are by identifying values and core, guiding principles, identifying talents, both soft skills and hard skills, and then being more intentional about surrounding themselves with people that share their values but need their talents to enhance their lives. So that probably could be a little bit more clear early in terms of here's the beginning of the process. Let's start with who, and the who we need to start with is you, and then we can decide what we're aiming at, and then we can start to work together to step into that potential together with a sense of wonder, even as we apply the rigor that's necessary to get through.
And what do you think that might give them?
One of the things that I love to talk about is the toggle back and forth between sufficiency and striving. Human beings are creatures who love the status quo. We love to know where we stand and what's expected, and we're definitely people of my generation. That was very clearly delineated. And yet we also, as human beings, have always had this aspirational nature, this impulse to seek the edges, to go to the unexplored places, to seek the new. And so I think a large part of the journey is resting with the duality of I am sufficient even as I strive. And that striving doesn't mean you're insufficient, and feeling sufficient doesn't mean you're not striving.
So if you created this for your core clients, what are some obstacles that you foresee?
I think in large part, they struggle with the same thing that I continue to struggle with, which is understanding intellectually that I need to embrace uncertainty and navigate adversity with an end in mind, and be willing to accept that I might not get exactly what I want or where I want, and at the same time still find myself full of craving and desire for the certainty and the clarity that's just not possible. The clarity always comes. The clarity is the clarity is not a destination; it's a process, and it comes through a process of trial and error, failure, misfortune, missteps, learning from mistakes, building resilience. And using all of the moments of failure and mistakes as opportunities to build patience, humility, acceptance, and resilience so that you can continue on.
And if you did this and let's just say it didn't land properly for them, how would you circumvent that?
If I were to share this process and it didn't work or it didn't land with them?
Yeah.
That's a great question too. The thing that I notice most often is not that people don't, that once I've shown a light or revealed the threshold, is not that they don't see it, but that, but again, status quo is a really small, if first law of physics, objects at rest tend to stay at rest, objects in motion tend to stay in motion, and depending on how stuck or in motion somebody is, I think that's one of the things that really holds back people. So I actually do this most frequently in the Akimbo workshops, where people can now see, once you see you and you can't unsee the obstacle, the challenge, or the way that you yourself are holding yourself back. You can continue to invite and encourage people to take the next smallest step just to maintain the momentum. And sometimes you have to accept that this is as far as they're prepared to go right now. And that's okay. And that doesn't mean that it's a no, I'm never moving again. It's just a no for now. I need some time to sit in the tension of this moment, and just and I definitely have done that many times, where when it's clear that my encouragement, my invitation is not helping to make it, make it with kindness and empathy. Say, I understand, this is okay, I'll be over here if you need me, but I won't be continuing to poke you with my little sharp stick.
So Scott, what do you think your clients most need from you?
I think what they need, I have 3 words for this year: focus, boldness, and discipline. And the focus is knowing who I am and what I'm here to do, and to stay on track with the one thing that I'm heading towards right now. Boldness is to show up fully, honestly, directly. I don't like the word authentically, but to be who I am right now, and to do the best job I can as the person I am right now, to do what I think is right, to do what I think is best for the people I serve, and to accept when the answer is yes and when the answer is no, and to just be more decisive. If it's a yes, let's go. If it's a no, let's part company for now. And discipline is just maintaining that, that day-to-day, moment-to-moment adherence to being true to who I am and who I'm becoming, and where I'm going and where I'm hoping to take others.
And this focus, boldness, and discipline, how could you hold yourself accountable for all those?
Well, again, not sure of your experience. I am not the best person to hold myself accountable. The little homunculus or whatever it is in our head, we have as human beings the capacity for reason. Unfortunately, we don't always act reasonably with that, and we can use our rational capacity to do a lot of rationalization and justification of things that are actually not in our best interest. So I'm very intentional about the people that I surround myself with, and I have a very good group of just friends, but also within my community of people who are on a journey similar to mine, and we all understand that as masterful as we are at helping each other see what we don't see, we are really lousy at seeing what we can't see ourselves. And so just making sure that it's all about the relationship, routines and relationships, but relationships in particular in terms of my accountability.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned having a support system with other people who you are close with. What about self-accountability? How does that work for you?
Things like those three words and making sure there's, in addition to the three words, I try to, because I'm a writer, I think a lot about theme. What's the theme of the journey that I'm on? And I can have sub-themes and attendant themes and all that sort of thing, but everything that I'm doing has to be on theme. And so if it doesn't align, like those three words are my yardstick for measuring all the opportunities and opportunities that might pop up, and making decisions about what I'm saying yes to and what I'm saying no to. But the first filter is this opportunity that I'm contemplating on theme? Is this brilliant idea that I'm having because it's my idea, it must be brilliant? Is this actually going to help me step into the possibility I want for myself? Is it on the theme of the journey that I've laid out for myself? So those are the kind of primary, the three words and staying on theme are the two primary self-accountability pieces for me.
Are you using any resources or tools?
I'm old school, sticky notes. I'm sure there are wonderful apps I could be using. There are apps that I use every day that make my work and life possible, whether it's Zoom or the internet and all that sort of thing. But in terms of, tools that I can access anywhere, anytime, pen and paper, phoning a friend, the kind of more old school are the things that I employ most often, even if it's just for my own accountability.
So Scott, we've spoken a lot today, and we're pretty much coming to close with this portion of the call. But I was just wondering, just generally, when you came in, you spoke a lot about sort of setting a clear direction for your clients and figuring out how that message lands. How does this all fit?
Well, you've been immensely helpful just in helping me see that the answers to the problems that I'm are inside me, and that if I just spend a little bit more time, spend some time reflecting and thinking about how do I help myself get out of my own way, I might be doing a better job of sharing the process by which I help my clients get out of their own way, because like me, they're interested in making progress, not in a laundry list of homework or to-dos or things of that nature. Progress and productivity are not always, are very rarely related. Progress is often a matter of just focusing on one thing and doing it well. And so that this was really helpful in helping me see how I might do a better job for myself, which might also help me do a better job for others. Thank you.
Yeah. And how does sort of that feeling you mentioned about being in your head, and now how does that feel now in your stomach?
Oh, it's definitely more in my gut for sure.
And the gut have another message for you?
Yeah, now it's kind of saying, let's go. I mean, like, let's get busy. Let's do the work.
Let's go. And you spoke earlier about themes. What would be a theme for you right now, given all that you've kind of experienced?
The theme is still that theme of trusting. Trust yourself. Trust the process. Faith that everything is happening as it's intended to happen, and your role is to make it happen through you, and not let it happen to you.
Oh, wow. Have the role happen through you, not to you. Excellent. Well, we're pretty much at time with this, so I'm going to transition into the interview style that I mentioned. So, Scott, tell my listeners more about you.
Sure. So my name is Scott Perry. I live in southwestern Virginia, and I am a husband and a father and a difference maker coach in Seth Godin's Akimbo workshops, but also in my own brand, Creative on Purpose. Up until just a month ago, I was also a guitar teacher and actually made a living most of my life as a performing musician, as a guitarist. So I began a transition into this world of coaching about 5 years ago. And now I've made the transition in full and have closed the chapter of being a musician and a guitar teacher. Now I'm full time, doing this other work, which has been a real challenge because I loved being a musician and I loved being a guitar teacher and I loved the people I did that work with and for. But I also feel that I have, with the time that I have left, this is how I will make a bigger impact and help make the world a better place by helping other people make the difference only they can make to make the world a better place.
So when you coaching, do you sort of sense a rhythm?
Coaching in like a coaching conversation?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Again, musician, rhythm is what makes music. Without rhythm, there's just noise. Like, rhythm is the organizing principle, and one of the things about rhythm is that it's not constant. It's not always a rumba or a waltz or a slam dance. I mean, it can weave back and forth, in and out, and evolve over time. So, that's one of the constant, not struggles, but the constant challenge is, paying attention to the rhythm and being mindful about, well, if I'm going to address the rhythm here, is this what I need to do to have the biggest impact on helping the person I'm talking with make the shift that they came here to make with me?
I noticed there's a big plaque behind you, less is more. Tell me more about that.
That's, speaking to the productivity versus progress thing. I mean, I'm a person that's very full of energy and vitality. I wake up early and I can work all day long and I can get a lot of things done. And my friends in the Akimbo world and the Alt MBA often refer to me as productivity man. Like, they've never seen anybody produce the way I can produce. But one of the things that I know about myself is that all that productivity has not helped me make the progress that I've been wanting to make. So my wife bought me that plaque almost 10 years ago, and I put it behind me because as I'm on Zoom or video call all day, I see that all day long, and it's just this is what I've been put on the earth to learn this time, and so I'm just really trying to lean really fully into this idea of what's the least I can do to make the biggest impact that I possibly can.
And what have you found, especially during these challenging times, to work?
Yeah, well, the onset of the global pandemic has been terrifying and frustrating, and I don't want anybody to suffer unnecessarily, of course. At the same time, suffering is always happening. It just happened in this past year that a lot of us were suffering from the same thing at the same time. So acknowledging that that people are in pain and there has been suffering and there has been loss, it's also been a time for me of immense opportunity, because my plan for 2020 was live events. I was going to do more in-person workshops, more in-person speaking. The onset of the pandemic made me first turn to, completely changing the book that I published in November. And it also made me realize that I possessed everything I needed to build a thriving coaching practice. I had an email list full of people that were opening my emails, that were eager to hear from me every week. And instead of trying to always be out there trying to attract, new business or new eyeballs to look at my work, if I just doubled down and paid attention to the people that already have told me they want to hear from me, I could do more good and I could prosper, which would enable me to do more. So the big shift for me in March of 2020 was no new projects other than the book that I was already in process and committed to finishing. No new landing pages full of opt-ins and freebies, and take care of the people that are here now. And it enabled me to finally achieve my goal, which was to shut down the guitar studio and do this work full time.
Wow. And for my listeners that don't know about the Akimbo, can you speak to more of that?
Sure. Akimbo workshops are now a independent B Corp. They were founded by Seth Godin, best-selling author of, his first bestseller was Purple Cow. He's also pretty well known for The Dip, Tribes, Icarus Deception, Linchpin, most recently This Is Marketing, and The Practice. He is still actively teaching and talking about the workshops, but they are run independently now. I'm on the head coach team. They are workshops that make change happen by not just providing lessons and prompts, but by creating containers where there's a community of people on a journey with you who are responding to your work, asking you questions, reflecting, encouraging you. You are doing the same for them. And so you learn to be a better marketer or a better creative or a better freelancer or a better bootstrapper, whatever workshop you happen to be in, by learning by doing. And so that's an important feature of it. I've been on the head coach team now for a few years. I'm on the coach team for 3 or 4 years. Some of the most important work I've ever done. So akimbo.com is a place to go to see what workshops are coming up and learn more about Akimbo.
And what's like the biggest pain point that you've kind of witnessed with literally everything else happening in the world right now?
The biggest pain point is, I think we've been delivered a false bill of goods in that, the way things are the way things should be, and and if you just do these things, you'll be okay, so don't rock the boat, don't question the system, go to school, get good grades, get a degree, get a good job, get a house, get a spouse, have some kids, everything, this is my generation. Millennials being the father of millennials. I know that they see what I'm just waking up to, that the system was terribly broken, and now we need to be working together towards something better. And this is how it's going to happen. So the pain point is we were convinced that we didn't have to worry about uncertainty or worry about adversity because things would be taken care of for us if we just followed the rules. Now we've learned that there are no rules and there is no perfect system. The best system is the one that you're working on right now. And the great boon of the pandemic is it's reminded us of what it really means to be human and happy, which is we are inherently social creatures that we need and must work with and for each other with compassion, with generosity, and with kindness and love. And that we have this creative capacity. Creativity is how we've made change happen all throughout our history. And we are being reminded that we all possess this, even if the previous system was beating it out of us, and that if we lean in, we can become more creative and we will create better systems, better processes, better solutions, and solve the difficult, wicked problems that we find ourselves surrounded by right now.
I love that. It's definitely very, very true. Just wondering, though, you mentioned that's the pain point. So what would be the antidote?
So the pain point, in part, is we feel lonely and isolated, and the antidote is you're not. If you leverage these powerful tools and you leverage your human nature, you will feel a greater sense of worthiness and a greater sense of connection and a greater sense of belonging. And this will fill you with, doing that work will fill you with purpose and passion, which then become renewable resources you can pour into doing better work, as opposed to the way we think of it, which is, I want to find my purpose or find my passion as if it exists somewhere out in the world, and that's the first step, is go find it. That's not true. What I have found to be true is that purpose and passion come from doing any work that's right in front of you with intention and with integrity and with and for other people.
Yeah, that's actually pretty beautiful. All right, Scott. So just if you could leave my listeners with your website or social media, be great.
Yeah, I'm very easy to find online, creativeonpurpose.com. If you put my name in, Scott Perry, you may find me, but it used to be that you would find me. But now there's a representative from Pennsylvania and a NBA basketball coach with the same name. Evidently, that's more important than music and creativity. But Scott Perry, Creative on Purpose, and then on social media, if you put those things in any platform that you're on, you'll find me there as well.
Well, Scott, this was a pleasure today. Any last thoughts you would like to say?
I would just like to express my gratitude to you, Savio. You're a brilliant coach. This was a wonderful conversation. I really came in not knowing exactly what to expect and without actually having a specific problem in mind, but I trusted myself that I would find a problem. Lord knows there's plenty of them around me. And so just, thank you for the difference that you're making in the world and what you're doing to make things better, for the people that you serve. Thank you so much.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you again, Scott. It's great speaking with you. Hi there. I really hope you enjoyed listening to today's podcast episode of The Human Resolve. If you feel that others may enjoy this episode as well, please share socially at The Human Resolve. They can also visit my website, thehumanresolve.com, where I offer one-on-one coaching sessions, daily prompts to move you in the right direction, sync directly to your smartphone, and a subscription to my weekly newsletter where I probe into the secrets from living smarter to feeding your 3 brains. If you could also help me out and give me a review and rating on this platform, because I do care what you have to say, I would really appreciate it. Now, get out there, my friends, and get busy living.